Hi fellow geography students, this is Mrs. Wildey. I'm doing a video lecture about class procedures, overview of the course, things that are a little bit more detailed than what's just in the syllabus. I find sometimes it works better to watch a video and listen at your own pace rather than have to read the syllabus and listen to me talk about it in class. We can have a little bit more fun in class, but we still need to go over this information. So you should be having the follow along notes in front of you as you listen, so you can answer the questions on that. And we can talk more about it in class tomorrow if you have any questions. So I'm first of all just going to start with sort of what the course is about. Obviously it's human geography, but there are some key topics that we talk about. And what I've done on the screen you'll see is laid out sort of the core topics, but then also the chapters in our textbook that correspond with those units from the College Board. So along the lines of all of these units, we also will talk about patterns or interactions or change that occurs across the globe in relation to those 7 topics. So if your friends are taking world geography, what they do is divide up the globe into different regions, and they talk about what goes on in that region in that unit. What we do in human geography is we talk about concepts like population, and we look at that particular concept as it relates to the entire world, both on a local scale, perhaps like in just India and the population of India, but also on the impacts it has on the entire world. So again, it's that idea of scale and spatial patterns that we see related to these different core topics. So in terms of whether you should take this AP course, of course I'm going to encourage you to take an AP course. It does challenge you. It's not going to be the easiest class you've ever taken. Hopefully it will be one of the most fun though. It does satisfy one academic elective toward high school graduation. You have to graduate with elective credit. This satisfies that. And on top of that, it looks really good for a college application. So not only are you satisfying the goal you need to graduate high school, but also you look really good for the next step in your life, which hopefully will be college or at least post-secondary jobs that might look at your course load and say, hey, this kid knows how to write well, this kid knows how to understand the way the world works. The goal of the course also is to gain college credit. So what you do is you take an exam. Now, if you're in the combo class, you're going to take 2 exams in May. And if depending on the score that you get on that exam could mean you do not have to take those courses in college. Now, it just depends on the college. So if you're going to Harvard or Yale, quite honestly, they probably won't give you the credit for the course, even if you get a 5 on the exam. But you can't get into Harvard or Yale without taking AP courses. So it is satisfying that tip, I guess, to get in. So just some quick little housekeeping things. This is what our textbook is going to look at. We'll check those out later this week. It is about $100, $98.29. So you need to kind of be respectful of it, because if something happens to it, then you're responsible for the cost of it. In terms of assignments, we have really 2 big groupings of class grades, but ultimately we have 4. So the majority of the grades you're going to have in the gradebook this year will be from either class assessments like quizzes, classwork, homework, just daily grades like that, discussions, debates, those kind of things. And then another big chunk is going to be the 45%, which comes from tests and projects. Your summer assignment is considered a project grade, so it will fall under this particular classification of your grade. This will feel like a lot, especially at the beginning of the course. So for example, if you take the first test, well, if it counts 45% of your grade, that could really kind of make a change in how your grade is looking. But as you take other tests or projects along the way, then it's not going to, each one is not going to be worth 45%. The percentage of how much is worth will go down. So by the end of the semester, I would expect most projects, tests, to be about 4.5%, 5% of your total grade. And then at the end of each semester, so in December and also next May, you will take a final exam. This isn't the AP exam. This is separate. This counts in the gradebook, where the AP exam doesn't count in the gradebook. But it counts for 20% of your grade. Multiple choice is 15% and 5% for the free response question or performance final. Now, what can you expect from this class? I've already kind of said this is probably going to be one of the hardest classes that you've ever taken. You should be prepared to work. It's not going to be easy to get an A in this class. Is it impossible to get an A in this class? Absolutely not. It's very possible. I always have A's, but it's the students that put forth the effort. Those of you that maybe didn't have to do very much work in middle school, that's not going to fly anymore. My students that don't do the homework, keep up with readings, do well on quizzes, ask questions, engage in debate, oftentimes, well, most of the time, they don't do well on tests. So you have to go, you can't just make it on the test and then not do any of the work along the way. In fact, my students that don't do the work along the way don't pass the tests. So just be prepared for that. Work a little bit each night. I never am asking for you to do more than 45 minutes or an hour of homework a night, which might seem like a lot, but remember that you only have 4 to 5 classes this semester rather than 8 like you might have in another high school. But also remember that part of this work is also about learning, about finding out things that maybe you didn't know you were interested in. And I hope that the activities that we do are really making you have a love for the world around you. So I like to do a lot of discussions and debates and really hear the different points of view that people have. This is a college level class. That's what advanced placement stands for. And so it is expected that you will have homework most nights. Sometimes it's reading from the textbooks, sometimes it's doing an activity, sometimes it's doing an online discussion with Google Classroom. But I do test is the wrong way. I do check to make sure you're keeping up with these. So pop quizzes are used a lot of times for the readings to make sure you're keeping up with the homework. Because if you wait to the night before a test to try and read 30 or 40 pages of a book, it's just not going to go in your head very well. It's not going to end very well. So keep up with the readings. I'm never going to give you more than I promise it'll never be as many as 10 pages a night. It's probably more like 6 or 7. But if you keep putting it off, then that's going to add up very, very quickly. So you heard me say about the summer assignment being part of the summative grade. So if you didn't know about it, there's a little bit of a grace period. So I mentioned this on the first day of school. The absolute deadline is Monday, August 26th. That's 3 weeks from the first day of school. The assignment is online. It's on my e-class. It is on it's on the school website. And if you have questions, I'm here to help you. There is an incentive for those of you that worked on it all summer and are done or almost done with it. If you turn it in by this Friday, August 9th, then you get a 4th late work pass, which will help you along within the semester. And I'll talk about late work passes in just a second. Again, as I said on Monday, at the beginning of class, if you want to get feedback on your summer assignment before you turn it in, that's fine. Know that I'm not going to grade it. Like I'm not going to hand it back to you and say, well, it would be a 92. What I am going to do is give notes, like you're missing citations here, your bibliography is incorrectly formatted. You need to cite the source for this sentence, whatever. And it just kind of gives you another chance to kind of fix some things before you turn it in for good. Just in terms of regular class procedures, if you are absent from class, there are lots of ways to find out what you missed. But I stress that it is your responsibility to figure out what it is you missed when you were gone. It is not my job to keep track of 120 kids, about which ones were absent which day and whether they got the work when they came back. You can look several places. So my Google Calendar is updated with the assignments oftentimes attached to that. Or you can, and oftentimes if the assignments are not on Google Classroom, they may be on Google Calendar or eClass. You can also go to the Makeup Work folder, which is located on the table under the map, and it has each day, all the papers we did that day. I put the extras in there. So you can go there, just make sure you're flipping through all the papers and get the ones that you missed for the day you missed. You can also, of course, ask classmates. Say, what did we do yesterday? I missed it. Have them help you out. Email me. Send me an email. Put a little Post-it note on my desk. Say, hey, can you get me the stuff I missed yesterday? Just remember, I'm happy to help you. It's just that I want you to remember that you are in control of the decisions you make and the choices that you make. And part of the responsibility of being absent is that you make up the work that you miss. Homework. So this is where we talk about these late work passes. As a college level class, I have a very high standard. I ask for my students to turn in work, and I really want them to turn in work on time. Obviously, I know that life has things that come up that are unexpected, and we've got, lots of extracurricular activities. But overall, we really need to be making sure we're keeping up with assignments and turning them in when they are due. But as a helpful tool, what I do is at the beginning of each semester, so you get some in August and you get some in January, you get 3 late work passes. And what these do is give you another night or 2 if you're in the combo class. It might give you 2 more nights. It depends. It's the next time I see you. So if something's due on Friday, then I'm not going to ask you to come to my house on Monday or on Saturday to deliver it. I will get it on Monday. But it is whatever the next day I see you, you have the time between its due and that day to turn it in. And you'll just attach the late work pass to the assignment and then turn it into the tray. I also give opportunities often for extra late work passes. So like I said, if you turn in your summer assignment by Friday, I'll give you a 4th late work pass. And you can use them for anything except tests and quizzes. You can't come in for a pop quiz and say, yeah, I just want to excuse myself from that and have it another day. No, it's a pop quiz. You can't do that for tests or quizzes or pop quizzes. But you can use it for homework, classwork, projects, all of those things. So I would recommend that you keep them as long as possible and really use them for big things and big emergencies. But you have those as an opportunity. Now, once they're gone, if I don't have an assignment, it's 0. I know this sounds really strict, and I know it's very different from middle school, but I really stress the importance of taking responsibility for your work, and this is a college level class. So it's different from your other, honors gifted level classes or those kind of things. So just remember and keep in mind of those things and really, again, keep up with your work and assignments. Also, please, 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 please feel comfortable to come talk to me if you have issues, problems, situations that may not be obvious to me just from you not turning in work. I want you to feel like it's an open classroom where you can talk to me about it. Okay? So anyway, that's the issue with late work. In terms of the exam, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly because we'll talk more about it in class. It is scheduled for Tuesday, May 5th at noon. You will not take it at Peachtree Ridge. It is usually taken at Gwinnett Tech. And those of you in my non-combo, so 2nd and 3rd block, you will just have to pay a registration fee of $10. But the combo kids, my 4th block kids, you're going to have to pay for one of your exams, either AP Human or AP Environmental Science. And the cost of one exam is $94. So I know that's a lot, but I'm giving you a heads up now and tell your parents about it so that they're not, it's not a surprise to them. Your AP exam, we'll talk more about the format of it, but it is scored over the summer. So you take it in May, it's scored in June, and you get the score itself in July. And then just remember that you can get a score between 1 and 5, but 3, 4, 5 are the only ones that are considered passing. So we'll talk more about the format of the test. Please don't forget about that. Here's a list of supplies that you need for class. I also gave this out on the Meet the Teacher night. Look at the optional supplies. These are not required. However, if there's something that you can I can really stress in terms of if you can get one of these optional supplies, it's going to be one of these test prep books, though it's in red at the bottom. I don't care what brand it is, but it would be a test prep book for AP Human Geography. Now, we can talk more about where to get them. And again, the format of the exam has changed slightly, so we'll talk more about whether you can use an old dated, like an old year review book or not. But I would recommend getting one. It will help you not only on the exam in May, but also on my tests. So, along with just keeping up with work, there's a lot of other things that will help you be successful. So on my e-class page, as well as on my Google Classroom page, which we don't have the code yet, but we'll get that soon, there will be practice questions, there will be extra help tips, articles I might post that might be interesting to you. So make sure that you do join the class when it's available, and make sure you keep looking at the Google Calendar, the e-class units and the activities there. My most successful AP students are actually the ones that have extracurricular activities, because what they know to do is manage their time well. They make a schedule. They know they have practice from 2:30 to 4:30. They have a game at 5 to 6 or 7. They get home. They know that they need to do this work from 7 to 10 or whatever it is. Or if they know they have a game on Tuesday night and a big project is due Wednesday, then they can prioritize things over the weekend prior to it so they don't have as much the night before. I also encourage you to pay attention to the news. It can be radio, it can be newspaper, it can be magazine, it can be anything. I don't want you to really focus on one particular news source. Like, branch out, listen to different sources, but also talk to your parents, engage in conversations about what's going on in the world. Ask them what they think, ask them why they think this is happening in different places. It really will become much more helpful with making it relevant for you and making the concepts of the class relevant for you if you remember and understand current events. I also recommend going to the College Board website. It's collegeboard.org. There are lots of resources there. I'm going to have you sign up for some helpful tips there as well, but we'll do that together as a class. And then lastly, just be an active learner. Don't sit in the back, twiddle your thumbs, doze off. Listen, engage, ask questions. When I say turn to a partner and talk about how you feel about this, do that. Whatever's going to help you stay alert and wanting to learn more. We need to kind of work together on that. In terms of just what I could use in terms of school supplies, I can always use Kleenex, especially when cold season comes around. Hand sanitizer, cleaning wipes, copy paper, all of these would be helpful. Whatever you can or your parents can donate would be greatly appreciated. So, class rules, class procedures. Not as much of the fun stuff, but we still need to kind of go over it. I think you've kind of figured out that I'm sort of a stickler for responsibility, for details. I want you to be a good person, and part of that is being a responsible person. So be on time. Don't be late. I do close my door when that tardy bell rings, and you will have to go get a tardy pass if you're late. As much as I love debate and discussion, a lot of freshmen don't really know how to disagree appropriately. And so we need to be respectful of others. You never know if what you're saying is going to be considered disrespectful or rude to someone else in the class. There's a way to disagree with someone in a way that doesn't make them feel bad. So insults, rude comments, not okay. Please come to class prepared. That means you've got your book. That means you've got notebook paper. That means you've got pen or pencil. Just just come ready to work on whatever we're going to do that day. And then obviously I know that 5 minutes between classes is really hard to get around the school, but you need to try and go to the bathroom before you come into class. It is a distraction to leave, and you are also missing information when you leave. So the more you can go to the bathroom before class, the better. And the same thing goes for applying lipstick or brushing hair or filling water bottles. All of those things shouldn't happen during class time. They should happen before class time. No one will be allowed to leave the room the first 10 minutes of the class or the last 10 minutes of class. This is actually a Peachtree Ridge rule, but I do enforce it. And then lastly, let me tell you, even if the bell rings, let me tell you, okay guys, this is just a reminder, please finish this for homework. Now you are excused. Cell phones. I'll talk more about this in class, but cell phones are one of those things that we all have become very dependent on. However, they are very, very disruptive in class, and they create such distractions that kids, students miss out on so much information. There are some times where I will say, hey, take out your cell phone, let's do, let's play this game, or let's look up this information. But for the most part, cell phones aren't going to be necessary. If we're going to do something that really involves a lot of technology, we'll go to a computer lab to use it, or we'll use tablets or something. But I need you to respect this. So there are no cell phones allowed in class. If I see it, I will ask you to put it on the ledge under the board. And if it is a repeated violation, then we'll just go out in the hallway and you can call your parents and tell them why you have a detention, which will be because of a cell phone, which is just silly. It's not necessary. So if the cell phone's going to be a distraction for you, like automatically if it buzzes or beeps or something, you're going to automatically want to look at it and you won't be able to focus on anything else, then I'm going to ask that you turn it off and put it in a bag I have. And that way it won't be a distraction. You will get it at the end of the class. But we need to really focus on learning, and the cell phones are not going to help us with that. So I hope that you will respect this, because I don't want to have to give detentions and call parents and do things for negative actions. That's not necessary. So hopefully you understand. Other just basic procedures. We're almost done. I'm sorry this has taken so long, much longer than our usual video lecture. But some teachers allow you to just sign out and leave. You take the pass and leave to go to the bathroom. I want you to ask for that. So I will say that if you do need to leave for some reason, that you wait until I'm done giving instructions or lecturing, that we're not having class presentations going on. But that when you ask, and if I say it's fine, then you have to sign out on the destination log, and you need to take either the white pass, which goes to the bathroom or water fountain or another teacher's room, or you take the red pass if you need to go to the clinic. Now, of course, if you are like about to vomit all over my floor, you don't need to ask permission. Just go, we'll take care of it. But for basic just wanting to leave the room, you need to ask permission. If there's a fire drill, I will ask, behind my door is a big sign that says Wildey. I will ask one of my students to kind of take that and lead the group outside. We are always headed up the center stairs. So you walk out the atrium doors and up the center stairs to the faculty lot, and we congregate up there near the faculty cars, and I'll do a count then and wait for us to be allowed to go back in. The other things just about in the room itself, the board will always be updated with class itinerary, date, homework, all those things. So remember, you can always look there. Just remember that I teach 2 different sections. So my non-combo, my second and third block, it'll be on the left side of the board. And my combo, or fourth block, will be on the right side of the board. Just like I feel cell phones are a huge distraction for learning, they also are the source of cheating. Oftentimes, I've had a lot of problems with this in the past, which is one reason why I'm going to be a real stickler about cell phones this year. But part of what I want to encourage is for you to make sure you are honoring my policies about not cheating, about being respectful, about being a good person. I want to trust you. I want to have your respect, but I want to respect you as well. And so anytime that you share answers with someone else in class, or you send answers over a phone or email, you are cheating. You are not helping that child learn it on their own. And it's just not okay with me. So I do ask that all of my students sign an honor code, and you can read this on your own. It's also on this piece of paper that I'll give you. But when you sign it, I want you to be sure you can follow it. And if you can't, you need to think about why you can't, and then to truly do some introspection. Why is it that you feel you can't be honorable and trustworthy? I promise to be honorable and trustworthy with you. So I ask for the same in return. And on that note, I will say that my teacher's oath is that I am here for you. I am here to support you and to push you, not make you break, but maybe bend a little bit where you're not as comfortable as you have been in the past, but you learn more about what your strengths and weaknesses are and how you are as a student. But I want you also to know that high school is hard, and if you need to talk to me about anything, I'm here. My door is always open, or my email is open. You can email me with anything if you don't feel comfortable talking face to face. But please know that I'm here for you. I love what I do, and it's a very difficult profession, teaching, but I'm very glad that I do it. So the reason I do it is not for pay. It's not for the meetings and paperwork that I have to do. It's because I genuinely love teaching students and high schoolers, specifically freshmen. So I hope that you feel excited to learn this year, and I'm so glad that you're in my class. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.